All right. Good afternoon. How are you? How is everybody? It's November and it's like 70 degrees in New York. I don't even know what's going on. But I'm happy that you all could join us today at the Hostos Student Leadership Academy Friday Ambassador Workshop Series. It's always exciting to be here with you, and today is no exception. I have the privilege of introducing you to an extraordinary speaker who joined us actually for the first time last year and made a very deep impression on everybody who participated in the workshop that he gave last year. And I hope that he will have the same effect on all of you. I am pretty sure he will today for this workshop. And he will do all of the details of what he's going to introduce to you, and I'm just going to introduce him. So let's give a nice round of applause and welcome to Fred Banny.
Thank you, Jason, for that amazing intro. I am in agreement with you. We are in New York, and the weather is like wow, right? I'm thinking it's just like New York has like 12 different seasons. So, but I just want to say kudos to everyone who's here. Reason why? The weather is beautiful. You could have been doing anything else, but the fact that you were here today lets me know that you are serious about your growth. You are serious about your future, and I am excited to have this conversation with you today. You know, leadership is my passion. Leadership is something, and I love words. I'm going to get started in a second. I love words, and I was having a conversation with someone recently, and we was talking about passion. And so, what is the definition of passion? And oftentimes, people will say it's a strong feeling, it's a strong desire. But when you really study the etymology of the word, a great definition that I've found and I discovered is the willingness to suffer for something. The willingness to suffer for something, that's true passion. I don't know your favorite when you think about Jesus and during the time he was on the cross, it's often referred to as the passion of Christ. And just to kind of bring it back home, when you think of another word, compassion, right? The prefix is with. So compassion is the willingness to suffer with another. So my willingness to equip and to develop emerging leaders, established leaders, aspiring leaders is something that is my life's work. It has been informed because of my background, which you all going to learn a little bit about me. So I am super excited to, again, have this conversation with you all. Jason, thank you for the opportunity. And let's just get started. So today we are going to be talking about leadership. And before I get started, we're in New York. I know we like to represent where we are. So let's get engaged in the chat. Just let me know where you at. Where did you grow up? Where you reside right now, and where did you grow up? I'm gonna leave that to you to decide which one you want to put in the chat. So where you grew up or where you represent. I see the BX, Harlem, BX. Okay, Bronx in the house. Come on, come on. Let me know Harlem, Queens. Okay, okay. Where Brooklyn at? Okay, Harlem, Bronx. Okay, Harlem and Bronx is winning. I'm from Long Island, New York, right? I was born in Liberia. You're gonna learn a little bit about that a little bit. For Harlem and Brooklyn, Harlem, Bronx. Okay, BX is hard. I guess Hostos. Okay, cool. That is fantastic. So today I want to talk to you about leadership, how to become an effective. I have here student leaders, right? Because we're in university student, but essentially how to become an effective servant leader. That's what I want to talk to you all about today. You see, we live in a culture now, we are in during a time of crisis, leadership crisis. A lot of people who are aspiring to leadership or a lot of people who are in leadership position are just after their own benefits, right? And a servant leader truly is someone who cares about the wellness of the collective. And it is a revolutionary act, especially within our self-serving culture, to stand up and say, I want to be a leader, not just for my own benefit, but I want to have an impact on the lives of other people. And I want to use the gifts, the talents, the skills that I have developed over time to use into service to benefit others. And in return, you're going to reap some benefit as well, but it's not so much of you driving because I want to be great. Because when you think about greatness, like Dr. King said, is truly service to others, right? So when you think about that, leadership, John Maxwell, a great leadership expert, has a quote that everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. I want you to think about that that a sentence for a second. Everything rises, not some things, everything. If that sentence is true, which I believe it is true, that means the wellness of the family rises and falls on leadership. The wellness of a university rises and falls on leadership. The wellness of the country rises and falls on leadership. The wellness of the state rises and falls on leadership. The wellness of the business, of the work, whatever you can think about, everything rises and falls on leadership. And if everything rises and falls on leadership, that means leadership is a high calling. There are many callings, but leadership is a high calling, because when you think about the consequences, the gravity of what that holds, and when people think about leadership or leader, they often think title. But I want to share with you all today that leadership is not about title. It's more than a title. And the reason why this work is so critically important to me, you see, I was born and raised in Monrovia, Liberia. That's West Africa for some of you who may not know, right? When I was 5 years old, a civil war broke out in the country. That civil war lasted for 13 years. I lived in Liberia 11 of those 13 years. What you see happening in Ukraine right now, what we see happening in Syria, what we've seen happen in Afghanistan, all these places, all these war zones, or if you're a war movie person, what you see during war movies, I've been on ground zero. I've lived in that environment. And one thing as I've grown up and I realized, all of that, remember I said everything rises and falls on leadership. All of that was the result of leaders who abdicated their responsibility and did not take care of the people that they were supposed to take care of. The people entrusted trust into their hands and elected them into office, but because of selfish gain, they pretty much allowed the country to go wrong. And there were so many casualties. And I'm not gonna go into graphic details, but oh man, it started when I was 5, like I said. And I've seen some things, and I've witnessed some things. There's a difference between witnessing and seeing. Witnessing, you were on the scene, you did. At a young age, when I was 5 years old, at a time where an innocent young man, all I should have been worrying about was playing with toys, riding my bikes. My family and I found ourselves running for our lives. Running for our lives because of the misappropriation, because of the abdicating of the trust that the citizens put into people who were in position of leadership. But I'm grateful, as you can see, I'm speaking with you, so I'm alive. And you know, when I was 15, I had the opportunity, me and my older sister, to come to the States. And I came, been in New York. I spent most of my life in New York than I've spent anywhere else in the world. And I came to the States when I was, and I came of age to go to school. I'm like, okay, what do I want to study in school? And I thought about going into engineering, learning the skill sets, how to rebuild, because I'm like, I want to be able to go back home one day or wherever I find myself in the world to be able to contribute to the building up of the country, of the neighborhood, and essentially of society, simply because that's what I witnessed. So I saw a lot of the structures, I saw a lot of breaking down. But I said I wanted to dedicate my life to building up. And that's what I did. I went into engineering. Right now, that's what I do. Outside of my business, as far as my career, I build roadways and bridges. But in that process of learning principles of building, I realized something. I'm like, man, the same principles that we can use to build bridges and roadways, these things that last centuries and decades, we can use that to build people. Because I realized the most important part of a structure is its foundation. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. And I started to extract and parallel different engineering principles and how that applies to life. And my passion I like to say my career transition into calling. This passion grew because one thing that became so clear and apparent to me, where everything that I saw, the buildings in Liberia that was burned down and shot down and gunned down, the military tanks that was driving through our neighborhood, the bridges that fell, the houses that was looted, the people who were shot and killed, the young men who were toting guns that was bigger than them. Everything that I saw, what truly, even though incredible infrastructure was damaged, what I realized, it was family that was broken. It was the people that was broken. So my passion transitioned from building roadways and bridges to building people. That's why I love leadership. That's why I go into colleges, I go into universities, I work with professionals just to really talk about leadership from the perspective of it's a high calling. It is not for you to serve. And you all here today, like I said, I applaud you because I need you to start seeing yourself as such. Because we have a motto. Typically, when people want to do something in their life, right, is I need to have this so I can do this and I will be happy. I need to have a job so that I can do this and then I'll be happy. That's the motto. That's the motto. Have, do, and be. But when you think about that, that's outside in. And if you approach your life that way, you're always going to be at the beck and call of someone else because you were never anchored. So I want to introduce to some of you a new model, which is be, do, have, where you're building your life from inside out, right? And that's a formula, what I refer to that as identity-based decision. So pretty much what I do, I help leaders, emerging leaders, established leaders build clarity and confidence through identity-based decision. So when you think about it, because how I came about this, I thought about, okay, listen, what if, right, instead of setting goals and making decisions based on what we want to have, instead of that, we set goals and decisions based on who we want to become first. Because what I've found, when we become clear on who it is that we are and who we want to become, what we want to do becomes clearer and easier. Because if you study design, there's a principle in design that calls form follow functions. What that essentially means, everything that we do as people, as human beings, flows out of who we are. Am I making sense? Am I tracking? Is that connecting with anybody? Engage with me in the chat. Let me know. Put one in the chat if that makes sense to you. Everything that we do flows out of who we are. Everything that we do flows. There you go. I see the ones. Okay, that's awesome. So identity-based decisions. So this is what I want to talk with you all today as it relates to leadership, right? Everything that we do flows out of who we are. And you have to embrace this matter. Who must I be? Who must I be? And then what must I do so that I can have? It's a different paradigm shift. It's a different framing of what it is that you're going after, because it's never about the thing. It's about who you become in the process, right? And these are principles and things that I've learned. Some I've discovered just through hard life lessons, and some I have been blessed to sit and study under some of the most brilliant people in the world. And some of that came with tremendous investing, and because of that, it has afforded me an opportunity to pretty much, live up an amazing life, considering where I've come from. You all just heard a little bit about my story, right? I'm married, me and my wife, 8 months. 8 years, I should say. We just had a baby, 8 month old, because I studied engineering. So one of the things I had on my dream list was to go to Paris and Dubai. So on my honeymoon, when we got married, me and my wife in 2015, we was able to go to Paris, London, and Dubai. I've been able to give TED Talks. I've been able to produce TED Talks. We have a foundation that we equip leaders here in America and back home in Africa, and I say all of this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that it does not matter where you come from. It does not matter where you come from. One of the things that I struggle with was my accent. When I came to the States, I always excelled in school, but I used to be very self-conscious about my accent. And because of that, I recoil. I was never fully expressive. When I was amongst people, I didn't really speak much. And imagine this is a person now who is a public speaker, right? Who's been on TED stages, who's traveled globally, and I speak for a living, right? But because I had this invisible script in my mind, how I saw myself, I thought that having an accent was a negative. Until one day I'm driving down LIE and it hit me like a ton of brick. Everybody has an accent. It's just a matter of where you are. So for example, if you live in, let's say Haiti, and you speak patois, and that's the majority of people, that's where you speak. If someone comes from America, the American person is the one with an accent. So it depends where you are. And I realized, you know what? These are things, what we sometimes things that we think are negative or weaknesses, those things that actually are our advantage. And I begin to embrace every part of me. And that's when my life started to take off. So for me, that's something I had to overcome, just my accent, being subconscious of that. I don't know. One thing I do know is we all have something. Everybody has something. Yours may not be an accent, right? Yours may be how you dress. You might be self-conscious about that. Or it might be your unique perspective about certain things. It might be the type of music that you like, whatever. It doesn't matter. I want to tell you that all of those unique quirks about you, that's what makes you special. That's what makes you unique. And as you develop and you grow as a servant leader, all of that is going to be the keys and the tools that help you to connect with people on a deep, deep level. So before I move on, I just wanted to take a side note and say, never allow where you've come from, never allow the color of your skin, never allow your ethnic background, never allow anybody because of those things to try to tell you that you are less than, or to try to tell you that you cannot ascend to any heights that you desire if you're willing to put in the effort and do the hard work. I'm living proof. I'm living proof. So it's because of that. And because I transitioned from building roadways to bridges, my passion, people started calling me life builder because I realized that's what we're building. It's life. We're building lives. When you think about communities, you think about businesses, every infrastructure, every system is made out of people. It's inanimate, right? It has no soul. It's the people that brings the soul to it. If you think about neighborhood, what makes a neighborhood bad or good? It's the people in it. It's the people. So as leaders, one of the most important thing is to inspire, right? Inspire is to breathe life into people, but just not to inspire through your words, but through your action. And there are two kinds of leaders. And I want you to think about what kind are you? So you have what you call multiplier leader, and you have a diminisher leader. A multiplier, so check this out. A multiplier is someone who, when they walk in the room, the entire room lights up. Why? Because they raise up the intelligence, they raise up the joy, they raise up the brilliance of everybody in the room. That's what a multiplier, think about the word multiplier, you multiply. So as a leader, your job is not to want to get all the credit, want to shine. No, you are a spotlight. You're a flashlight, you light the way, and you also a spotlight, you light up the stage for other people to shine. That's a multiplier. A diminisher will be a leader if you bring an idea to them, or when they come in the room, everybody energy just drop. I want you guys to put in the chat. It may not be you, but do you know of anyone who, when they walk in the room, just like everybody starts to, oh boy. Or when they leave the room, everybody's happy. Just like, oh God, thank God he left. Thank God she left. Put 2 in the chat if you know anybody like that. If you know someone, when they walk in the room, you know, everybody is like, oh my God, I can't believe. Once to leave, you get back to yourself. But then I want you to put 5 in the chat if you know someone who, when they walk in the room, everybody, oh man, so great to see you. Oh sister, so great to see you. How you been? They just light up the entire room. And I want you to put 6 in the chat if that's you. Or even if that's not you, if you desire to be that kind of leader, put 6 in the chat if you desire to be that kind of leader. I love it. I love it. I see the 6. That's what it's about. I see Xana. I see Katie. I see Sheridan, Mary. Yes, that's what it's about, because it's not about you. When you come around, you want to raise up the energy. You want people, when you have conversation with people, not to impress them with your smarts. You want people to leave your presence thinking, oh, wow, I'm smart. You want people to leave your presence not being impressed by you, but you want them to leave feeling like, oh man, I could do it. They're standing tall, their shoulders are back, because that's the kind of impact and effect that you have on it. That's what a multiplier does, right? So just a quick break. So I have a question for you guys. You know, I told you I have an I'm a new dad, right? So I'm dabbling into dad jokes. So I just have one for you today. Why did the bicycle stop working? Anybody? Why did the bicycle stop working? I'm gonna give you a few minutes. What do you think? Why did the bicycle stop working? Think about this one. Okay, it might be corny, but that's what dad jokes are, right? It wasn't being used. Okay, I like that. It wasn't being used, but think about it. It was too tired. You get it? 2 tires. It was too tired. That's why it stopped working. Okay, great. So what? It was too tired. So as a leader, right? One of the greatest gifts that we all have, because here's one of my philosophy. I believe everybody, listen to my words, just like I said, everything, not some, everybody was born to be a leader. Everybody has the potential to be a leader. They have the seed to be a leader, but that potential needs to be activated. That seed needs to be cultivated, right? It needs to be developed. Everybody has the potential to be a leader, because if you're a big sister or a big brother, you're leading your little siblings. If you're in the university, you're a teacher, you are leading someone. You may be leading your friends. You may be leading on your job. You might be leading an organization. Everyone is a leader. And one of the most important characteristics of a leader is vision. It's vision. Because when you think about everything that we had, everything was built twice. And it starts first in your mind. It starts first in your mind. So I want you all to really start to think, when you start to think about how can I be an effective servant leader? How can I be an effective student leader? How can I be a multiplier leader? What do you see? And the scope of your vision, the scope of what you see is directly affected by what you feed yourself, what you expose yourself to. There's 3 E's that I tell people that would change your life. 3 E's to an incredible life. It's education, it's exposure, and it's environment. Education, exposure, and environment. I want you all to put that in the chat. Education, exposure, and environment. Education, exposure, and environment. Education. Education has been said is the great equalizer. The reason why, when you think about, as an African growing up, right, and you talk to any Africans, they would tell you, we have just our parents tell you, you only have few options to be a success in life. Either you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're an engineer, or hopefully you work in finance or banking. Lawyer, doctor, engineer, finance, and banking. And that's not true, because they're incredible artists, right? They're incredible people who don't fit within those fields of doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? But I get what they're saying when they say that, because when you think about any civilized society, those are the cornerstones of what those societies built on, right? But education is so important. It's the great equalizer. It's a great, and exposure, what you expose yourself to, because once you see something, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unsee it. It's in your mind, it's large in your mind, and an environment. We live in New York. It's a beautiful weather today. If you take an orange seed and you plant it in New York, how it's going to grow and the kind of fruit orange grows is gonna yield, is gonna develop, it's not the same as if you plant it in Florida. You take the same seed and you plant it in Florida. Why? Because the environment is conducive of that. So how does that relate to you as a leader? How does that relate to you as an individual growing up? Be mindful of what you expose yourself to. Leaders are readers. If you're going to be an effective leader, you're going to be an effective servant leader, you need to read. Leaders are readers. And even reading a book, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, feeding yourself education, exposing yourself to new environments, to new people. Enlarge your palette. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of, leave your borough. Get a passport. Plan a vacation. Go outside of the country. Expose yourself to other culture. Engage other people in conversation and learn about their culture. Because you're moving beyond your borders. I'm sharing with you things that has transformed my life. These are not things that I haven't experienced. I'm sharing with you. Some of this I've read in a book, but I've also integrated it into my life. And just make sure the environment that you're in. Because here's the secret. You can predict your future. You can predict your future. Because right now, your life, you are the condition of your life. Everyone, you are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. The 5 people that you spend the most time with, you are the sum total of that. So what does that mean? That means we can literally change our future by changing the people that we spend time with. 5 years from now, the books that you read and the people that you hang out with most is going to determine how your life shaped out. It's going to determine the kind of impact that you have. It's going to determine what movement that you have in your life. Just 5 years from now, the books that you read and the people that you hang out, because that's going to change your conversation. That's going to change your ability to think. It's going to change your vision of what you see. So we often, a lot of Bronx and Harlem's Harlem and Bronx was in the chat when I said, represent where you're from. So this is one of the projects that I did in the Bronx. This is about Webster, East 168th Street. And if you see, I don't know, I may be dating myself, but if you've ever seen the movie New Jack City, or if you're from the Bronx and you really know the history of the Bronx, let me say, does anybody recognize this Step Street? Anybody recognize this Step Street? But if you really know, so this is the Step Street that was in the movie New Jack City, where, Chris Rock, and Ice-T, they were riding the bike and he was chasing it on it. But the reason why I bring that up, speaking about vision, right? So we had the project, the task to build this Step Street, because as you see on the left, your current reality, it was deteriorating. It was bad. At the top, the little gazebo, you see there's a school up there, and sometimes kids will go, well, all the time kids will go up the stairs, and it was bad. So the city contracted us to really renew it. But it was just like, okay, what's the plan? Because that's what you have to do first. You have to plan. So we did this 3D rendering. That's what you see on your right-hand side. So that's your current reality, and that's your preferred reality, right? But then the question is, how can I get there? There's a transformation gap that we all go through. Same thing in leadership. So you have to plan. And we talk about I mentioned before, be, do, have, right? So engineering faces, the principles that I learned, you have to plan. So the question is, what do I want? Number one, what do I want? Okay, we want to change this Step Street. We want to build a new Step Street. What do I want? Who do I need to become to achieve it? And you see, why do I want it? Because in life, we all going to be hit with a lot of obstacles. But it's the reason why. You remember I said passion, the willingness to suffer for something. What do you believe in? What are you willing to stand on? What are you willing to suffer long enough for when the energy and the excitement fades away? What is it? Because the most important part I've learned of a structure of a life is its foundation. The most important of your life as a leader is your foundation. And what is your foundation? Is your mindset, which is your foundation is really your identity, right? And that encompasses your beliefs, your mindset, your values, and your self-image, how you see yourself. Because here's why this is so important. Because in engineering, if you don't have a strong foundation, or if a structure is not designed properly, you have loads that's act on them. And loads, live loads, those are people, right? Those are people, like people on the bridge, or you have live load, environmental load, and you have dead loads. This is an environmental load. Think about earthquakes, think about snow, think about strong winds. This is what happens if a structure is not built properly, and the weight that comes on it exceeds what it's supposed to be. That's engineering talk. I'm gonna bring it to life. Think about your life. Loads are like challenges. Your dead load is your own personal mental challenge, the things that we deal with every day. Live loads, those are challenges that we go through due to the actions of other people. Like something you can't control, it comes, it goes, you don't got to control. And dead load, that's just like Murphy's Law. Anything that goes wrong, goes wrong. It's unexpected trials and tribulations. So life, challenges and obstacles, it comes to test your stability. So that's why it's so important that you focus on your foundation. As a leader, I'm talking about be, do, have, building your life from inside out. Not necessarily going after things or what people say, or this cool is shining object, do it for the gram. No, you're building your life because you want to have tremendous impact. So when you think about your identity, mindset is so key. What you believe about yourself is so paramount to the success or your failure in life. What you believe about yourself, what you believe about how you look, your image, what you believe about your abilities, what you believe about your future is so important. So the two kinds of mindset, you have a fixed mindset. This is somebody who said failure is the limit of my abilities. If you don't know how to do something, you just be like, I don't know how to do it. That's it. Put in the chat if you know anybody like that, who they don't even try to figure out things. It's just like, oh, I'm either good at this or I'm not good at it. And that's it. There's nothing else. Do you know anybody like that? Put one in the chat if you know anybody like that. But then I want to explore this other amazing part of ourselves that we have the power to choose. It's the growth mindset. And growth mindset, failure is an opportunity to grow. Like, oh, can you do this? I don't know, but you know what? Give me some time and I will figure it out. I will go to Google University, or I will go to YouTube College and I will figure it out. Or I will go to Uncle Google, right? Or I will go to somebody else that I know. And I would take the initiative to find out the information to learn. So I can learn to do anything given enough time and put in the right effort. My effort and attitude, it determines my ability. When people give you feedback, it's constructive. You don't take it as an attack on you, but you take it as, information to help you get better. Put 2 in the chat if you know anybody who has a growth mindset. Who this person is just bored. Like you tell somebody, actually, can you do something? They may not even know how to do it, but they say yes, and they take the initiative to go figure it out. I see a bunch of 2s. And I want put a 3 in the chat if that's you, if you have that mindset. Put a 3 in the chat if that's you, or if you desire to be like that. I love it. I see you, Zen. I see you, Wendy. Yes, because that's like what life is about. Remember, I say your beliefs, your mindset, your self-image. Here's one of the most powerful things that plays with your identity. As leaders, remember I told you that leadership and servant leader is not about you. It's about you being a multiplier. It's about you elevating everybody else. But you can't be that if you're not integrated. What do I mean by integrated? If you don't have a standard, if you don't have codes, your personal code, if you don't have value. Identity-based decision is based on value-based leadership. That's what servant leadership is. It's, listen, I have a standard. I don't care how great this opportunity is, but because it go against what I believe, my core value, and we're going to get deep into that, and I'm going to help you guys. I have a gift for you at the end. My core value, if it goes against my standard, what I believe in, I don't care how financially or advantageous it is, I'm not doing it. How many of you like that? How many of you have like a code that you live by? You know, growing up, you said, my word is my bond, right? Like somebody telling you, listen, bro, you know what? Hold this bag for me, right? I'm going to give you something after. But you know, or you have a sense that what's happening right here is not straight, or somebody asking you to lie so that you can get a job, or to lie so that you can get an opportunity. But because honesty is one of your values, or truth is one of your values, you be like, listen, now I'm not willing to sacrifice my soul, myself, because of that. Remember, go back, we talk about servant-based leaders, because here's the thing, leadership first starts with you. The first person that you're going to learn to lead is to lead yourself. And if you're not fully integrated, you can't lead anybody. It starts with you, but you have to know your values. You have to know the things that you stand on, because now when you speak, your words carry weight, because people see your words are not empty, like you stand by your word, right? So when you take a look at this image here, a major part of our identity is our values. And so everything that's above, that's like your life, that's your vision, that's your dreams, that's your desires, that's what you want to do, that's what you want to achieve. But all of that is underpinned and is supported by the person, the kind of person that you want to become, your values. Because here's the thing, how many people do we know in culture, in pop culture, who very talented, very gifted, build this incredible life, but because they weren't integrated, because they weren't sure in the values, they did something that just crumbled their entire life. You think about R. Kelly, right? Talented. Now he's spending life, he's spending so many of his later years in prison. You think about Bill Cosby, growing up, everybody loved Bill Cosby, right? And he had allegations. So many people ruined their lives because their foundation weren't sure, their character weren't sure. That's what leadership, servant-based leadership is about. If you're going to go far, if you're going to impact people, think about leaders like Nelson Mandela. Think about leaders like, former President Barack Obama. Think about leaders like Mother Teresa. These are people who they integrate themselves, they stand on something. Because here's why it's important. Because if you don't do that and you have a crack or compromise in your value, is like a crack in your foundation. You see, in any house, like I said, the most important part is the foundation. And so the windows can be broken off. The roof can fly off. You can repair that easily. But if you have a bad enough crack in the foundation, it don't matter how beautiful the house is. It don't matter if it has a left wing, the type of windows, the entire structure is going to be condemned. Why? Because it's not structurally sound. It's not safe. That's how our lives is. That's how we are. When we live lives in a way where we compromise our values, when we compromise our standard, what we stand for, we put a crack. Every time we do that, we put a crack in our foundation. We put a crack. And when that crack goes long enough, you lose all credibility with yourself and with the people that you're aspiring to lead or you are currently leading. That's why getting clear on your values and living by your values is so important. Does that make sense? Put one in the chat if that makes sense. If you track with me, put one in the chat. Does that make sense? And put two in the chat if you're gonna make sure that you lead, you set your standard, you get clear on it. And I'm gonna show you in a second how do we get clear. I love it. I love it. Awesome. So values. So here, so to bring it on the lower shelf where we can get it, right? So these are lists of some type of values, right? You have courage, you have growth, you have connection, you have contribution, respect, gratitude, pride, acceptance, honesty, all these things. And these are just a few. And you could we're going to get to it in a second. But I want you, just based on this list, let me know what resonates with you. What value? Put one or two in the chat that resonates with you. And if it's not even on this list, but something that you already try to do your best to live your life by, I want you to put in the chat. Is it courage? Do you value growth? Growth, a person who values growth, they don't really care about failure. Connection, I see you, Sashi. Connection, right? Growth, somebody doesn't really, they put themselves in position to learn. Gratitude and acceptance, connection, I love connection. Integrity, courage, yes, courage. You know what? I'm going to go ahead, even if I'm feeling fear. Gratitude, acceptance, friendship, I love that, because that's who we are. We've been made to live in community. So now, those are things, but here's the thing. This is what the rubber meets the road, right? Elements of values. Because sometimes when we think about our values, it's just like, okay, how do I know this is a core value of mine? It's a line in the sand, like I said. It's what you believe in and what you would stand for. And here's another thing. It edifies other people. It doesn't tear people down. You're not willing to compromise it for money or any other opportunity to get ahead. You are willing to go against the crowd to stand on what you believe. And I love this. And if you make a mistake, because we are human beings, we all make mistakes. And this is a mark of a leader, the ability to admit wrong. If you make a mistake and you can admit that you're wrong, and you are willing to do whatever necessary to get back right, whatever necessary to fix it. If you value something, if you violate that and you're willing to do anything, and then it's a part of who you are and who you want to be. So someone like Sheridan said, integrity, courage. So God forbid something happens where you go against integrity, or you put yourself in a position where you coward, you were timid, you didn't show courage. You'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to beat myself down, but next time I'm going to give myself the opportunity to show up brighter, to show up in a more courageous and powerful and integral way, because it's important to me. Gratitude, I wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter what's going on. All hell can be breaking loose. Life can be crazy, but I look at my life, I'm alive today, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Why? Because I have an opportunity to get right what I got wrong yesterday. And I have an opportunity to do something today that can affect my tomorrow, which will make my tomorrow better. Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that we have, because you cannot be worried and have gratitude at the same time. It doesn't exist. So whenever you're feeling kind of off, think about, what am I grateful for? Look at your life, because it's always something to be grateful for. Always something. And then when you think about, when you are clear on who it is that you want to become, who it is that you are and who it is that you want to become, you'll be able to achieve what you want. You'll be able to achieve what you want. You'll be more decisive. You'll be more intentional. You'll be able to take advantage of more opportunities. Why? Because it's this framework where it helps me make decisions. See, one of the things I value my faith. I value my family. I value growth. So I have this thing. If an opportunity comes, if I have to put it through this filter, if it's in violation of my faith, my belief in God, I don't care how lucrative it is, I'm not doing it. So it goes God, my wife, my daughter, my family, and then the full career or work. So it makes making decisions easy. So I say what we have to do, we have to make our decisions before life decisions, because life is full of so many decisions. And if you don't get clear on who it is that you are and who it is that you want to become, when you have opportunities in life, in the moment, if you haven't pre-decided, it's so easy to compromise. So I share with you a quick story. You know, when I was in high school, I was real good in soccer. I had an opportunity to go. I got invited to go to Bridgeport University to go hang out with the soccer team. They were looking to give me a scholarship, right? But remember passion, remember purpose, vision. So I hung out with the team the weekend, we practiced. After I met with the coach, he said, Fred, I really like you. I like how you carry yourself. You're pretty good. I think, you have a good time here at the school, looking to give you a partial scholarship. I just like, okay, why not a full scholarship? He said, so, okay, we could do something about that. So I was just like, he said, but here's the thing though, at the time, I don't know if they have it currently, but at the time, they didn't have what I was looking to study in school. They didn't have construction engineer, right? But they had computer science. So he said, I don't think we have your major, but you know what? It's no big deal. You could study computer science. And I just like, I appreciate the offer, sir. But unfortunately, no, I can't do that. Because you know why I was able to say that, even though I had an opportunity for a scholarship, because I had decided in my mind after I became clear why I wanted to go to college and why I wanted to study in college and who do I want to become. I said, I wanted to go to school. Remember what I said in the beginning, to learn the skill set, to learn how to rebuild because of everything that happened in my life. There are things that happens in your life that have happened in your life that seems to be a detriment. There were adversities, but those adversities are your advantage if you can change your view, your perspective on how you view them. So I was able to turn down that opportunity because my thinking was, listen, I could take the scholarship, but if I get hurt, then what? I'm not going into something that I'm passionate about. I'm not going into something that has meaning to me because I'm never driven by money. Money comes, money follows solutions. When you're a problem solver, when you're a leader and you problem solve, the money's gonna come. You attract money, you don't chase money, right? So I said, I'm not doing it. I was able to do that because what I was going to school for, what was in front of me was weightier than just a scholarship or just, now, I realize, hey, maybe, the other options because our world has developed so much, right? But that was something I was able to do because I made that decision early on. And I did not just make that decision, but I had a reason why I was doing this. So how many of you here have a reason? And I just want you, and if you want to share the reason, that's fine. And, I'm looking at we have about half an hour left of our time. But how many of you here have a reason why you are going after the career path that you are going? Or is it just to make money? One, and there's no right or wrong answer. We always up to family, more fulfilling life for my family. Okay. That's family. Yes, family. I love it. More fulfilling life. To change lives. I love that. To change life, to change life. And that's big. That's big, right? To make a difference. That's big. How? How to make a difference? And that's beautiful because sometimes we have to start. It's like a funnel, right? Stability, fulfillment. I love that. Sometimes in life it's like a funnel. We start wide, but then we have to funnel it down and get more focus to create more representation in education and underprivileged community. I love it, Katie, to give back to the world and help others. Health, love it. Yes, some of you are much clearer and you are more direct and you know exactly what it is. And some of you is why, but that's fine. You're thinking about it. And that's what leadership is. It's vision. You can see into the future. So that's the formula as you set your goals and your desires. Because we use this in engineering. The first thing is you sit down, what do I want? Right? That's the preferred future. So you go in the future. So we're in November right now. We still got, some time before the end of the year. And I want you guys after this session to really do this. A lot can still happen positively for you before the year's end. So I want you to project yourself into the future at the end of your school or of your time in school. Or even matter of fact, let's do it till the end of this year. There's a lot. I want you to project at the end of December 31st, and you're looking back and you're having a conversation with Jason. It's like, man, and Jason asks you, oh, wow, Katie, oh, man, I'm so proud of you. Like, how was this year for you? Like, what did you do? And you're having that conversation with Jason. So imagine yourself in the future, and now you're speaking to Jason in the present tense, right? Or Sheridan or Sabrina. You're saying, wow, Jason, this was the most powerful year that I had, this most impactful years. I set out, I wanted to make a difference. And you know what? Sometimes when people say that, they think it has to be this astronomical thing. But every day when I show up, when I walk on the street, I smile. Because we're in New York, people were mean muggy all the time. But every day I smile, I say hi to somebody because I don't know what people are going through. And there was this one person, every time I see them, every time we walk, there's me mugging, me mugging. And every time I smile, I say hi, I say hello, I greeted them. And this one day, they stopped and said, why do you say hi to me? I said, why not? And they said, you know what? I appreciate you. Because before I met you, I look forward to meeting, to passing you and you saying hi. Because I was thinking about taking my life or I was thinking about doing something else. That right there, Sabrina, that's making a difference. That's changing lives. Sometimes we think we have to do this whole big thing. But remember, everything that's big started when it was small. So as you guys have these goals, these massive goals and dreams, that's amazing. Dream, envision large, but build your foundation. Do not negate the small stuff, the habits. Who do I want to become? So you want to change life. So the kind of person that changed life, how do they show up? When they show up in class, how do they show up? How do they speak? What conversation do they engage in? What type of music do they listen to? What type of food do they listen to? Because you want to live an integrated life. Because if you're going to change life, you have to reflect what it is that you want to do. So you literally have to become that. And I want to tell you all, there is a person in you that you haven't met yet. There's a person in you that's waiting to emerge. That's that leader. And that leader is not a title, it's a state, it's a way of being. That person is waiting to emerge. And you need to give that person permission to do so by saying, who do I want to become? I want to become someone who changed lives. I want to become someone who is living a life that's fulfilled and that's stable. Okay, what type of action does that person take? That person is disciplined, right? That person shows up. That person is committed. That person is forgiving. That person is loving. That person is compassionate. All of that makes a difference. All of that changes life. To give back to the world and help others people. Health. How is my health? Do I take care of myself? Because you see, the world is a mirror. I could only see light attracts light. I could only see greatness in you because it's in me. That's where it starts with you first. Be, do, and have. Who it is that you want to be, or the action that you need to do to have what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to have. Be, do, have. Am I tracking? Does that make sense? Give me a 5 in the chat if that makes sense. Give me a 5 in the chat if that makes sense. Awesome, awesome. So just to take you back quickly to the project, because I introduced it and I don't want to leave you guys hanging, right? So this is the project in the Bronx that we did, right? Because you have your dream, you have your plans, you do all that, but it's action time. And that project, initially, we were just supposed to take down the granite. What you see here, the walls, that's just a granite. We were just supposed to take that down and replace it. But as we started taking that down, we realized all the concrete walls were so deteriorated, it was so bad. So we had to break down everything to the bedrock. And you guys are from the Bronx, so you know the Bronx is very hilly. The Bronx has a lot of bedrocks. And we had to break everything down to the bedrock. That's how sometimes in your life, that's what you have to do. That's not the fun part. This is the part that's only for people who are serious. This is the part that's only for people who truly want to make a difference, because we can all speak a big game. And I'm speaking to you guys, to you all like this, is because I believe that all the craziness that's going on in the world, we are the solution. Be the change that you want to see. We are the solution. But that solution can only come about if we're willing to do things differently, if we're willing to do the hard things. Not too many people are willing to strip down their life to the bedrock, to strip down, to start doing to change some bad habits, to start doing some things that are now moving them forward in the direction of their dreams. Not too many people are willing to do that. But if you're willing to do that and you strip down, and here's the thing, when you do that, sometimes people, because they don't see your vision, because you see right now, if you look at this middle picture, if you don't have the right picture, the rendering that's on the right side, you don't know what's happening here. But in your mind, you know. So on this project side, we have a fence that has this rendering on the gate, and everybody that walks by, and you probably seen this too, when people are building, you see like what they're gonna look like. Everybody that walks by, they see it. So when we broke it down all the way to the bedrock, some people, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you building? Like, are you putting another building here? What's going on? Because they didn't have the picture, but we knew. And because we stepped to the plan, because while we projected ourselves into the future, we said, this is what it's going to look like. We designed it and we came back into the present and we started to take the action to get us there. And it took a long time. It was supposed to be 12 months. This project ended up taking up 2 years because we didn't expect to have deteriorated walls. There are things in your life that you're going after that you think is going to happen quickly. And it may not happen quickly because you might hit some adversities in life. You are a leader. Don't give up. Keep moving. If you truly have passion for it, if you're truly willing to suffer for it, if you're truly willing to change the world, if you're truly willing to have stability and fulfillment, don't give up. Because as you do that, you're gonna start to progress. And you see, so on the left-hand side here, that was the dream. On the middle, that was the current reality. But on the right-hand side, dream achieved. And the dream looks like, the dream accomplished looks like exactly what was in your mind. In this picture, it doesn't show the trees, but that's exactly what it was. And there are some things that you're dreaming about. There's some things that you're believing about. There's some things that you want to accomplish in your life. And you were speaking to some people. They don't see it. They'd be like, you, Francine, Mary, Sashi, Katie, nah, not you. You could never do that. Why are you even thinking like that? Who have you ever seen done that before? They don't have the vision. You're a leader. Your job is not to convince them. Your job is to decide who do you want to become. And your job is to build the skills and the habits. And every day you show up in your brilliance, you show up in your fullness. You are kind to people, you are a multiplier. When you walk in the room, you bring up the energy and you just keep leading by example. You keep leading by example. And people will then start to see your progress. And they'll be like, and here's the funny thing, right? And then some people will be like, oh yeah, I always believed in you. I always knew you can do it. How many of you, give me a 3 in the chat? If you know some people who in the beginning, you know, they be clowning you, they don't believe in you, but soon they see you making progress, they be like, oh, yo, you know what? I always knew you could do that, yo. Like, I'm so proud of you. You see, oh, Sasha got like mad 3s. I see, it's so true. Yeah, you know, but that's the thing, right? Your job is not to be mad at them because they didn't see it. They didn't see it. But your job is to show them. It's to inspire them, not necessarily through your words, but through your actions and your state of being, how you show up, right? So again, when you were clear, that's what's so important, when you're clear on who it is that you want to become, what you want to do, and the impact that you can have on people. So I want you to pull 4 in the chat. If anything I said, if today has been valuable to you, pull 4 in the chat. If it's been valuable, if you learned something new, or if you got reminded of something, or if it was impacted, if it inspired you, if it did something for you, pull 4 in the chat. I see a bunch of 4s. Thank you. I see a bunch of 4s. So that's the thing. You know, you guys, you heard my story. You heard where I've come from. And just like you all, my dream is to impact the world for good. And you guys, I'm living my dream. You are a part of my dream. The reason why this is so important to me, because I know the ramification. I've seen an entire country. Like back in 2018, I was able to go to Liberia for the first time ever since I came to the States. That was in like 21 years. And when I went there, I saw so many brilliant young people on the streets. Some of them college graduated, some of them they don't have jobs. They're just roaming the streets, hustling, doing business, trying to make a means, a living for the family or for themselves. And I thought to myself, and I was able to, one day I was able to go to Ghana. Me and my wife we were invited to speak to some young professionals there. And while we was driving, I saw this young little girl sitting on the rock, no clothes, just hanging out and waving at the cars. And we were going to speak to some young professionals in one of the most beautiful hotels that I've ever been in. Remember, I've traveled to Paris, London, Belgium, Dubai, but this hotel in Ghana was one of the most brilliant hotels speaking to young professionals. And it was just like 3 hours difference. I'm like, man, this little girl by the roadside, so young, innocent. She doesn't have the opportunity to even be in an environment that we are going to right now. So when I tell you that I'm passionate about leadership, and when I say passion, the willingness to suffer, it means something to me because of what it is. So when you think about your goals and your dreams, I want you to connect to why. Like somebody said, family. Yes, family. Because apart from God and family, what are we? Connect to that. Let that drive you. Because if you're just doing it for yourself, one thing I've learned, when you hit the tough spots in life, because trust me, you are going to hit tough spots. It's inevitable. But the reason why, the pull, the purpose, the why, that's what's going to push you through. The passion, that's what's going to push you through. So I was so blessed to see you all putting in the different things that you want to do and who you want to become and the impact that you want to have on the world and the different values that you have. So I have one other comment, something to share with you. But before I do, and thank you for your feedback saying, oh, this was impactful. I'm going to ask you if you can make it concrete for me. Take out your phones if you're on your phone, right? And scan this QR code. This QR code. Take out your phones and scan that. What that's going to do is going to bring you a quick survey. And you could just give me feedback about this presentation. And it's going to ask you what was most impactful for you. And they're also going to ask you what I could have done better. Because listen, I'm on a mission to impact 1 million people, 1 million emerging leaders. And I want you guys to help me. And I want you to be a part of that vision. You are a part of that vision right now. And so scan this. And if you're on your phone, you'll be on your phone, there's the short link right there. You could just enter that in the browser. It's going to bring up the survey and you enter the code LEAD. And that's a gift for you at the end. After you complete the survey LEAD, there's a gift for you. There's a sheet to help you discover your core values and not just discover it, but how to live it out. How to live it out. So I'm just gonna create more of this. I love that, love it. So I'm gonna just give you a few minutes, right? And when you're done with the survey, I just want you to put 1 in the chat. So you're done. The survey only takes you about 1 to 1.5 minutes. So once you're done completing it, just put 1 in the chat. That way I will share with you the last thing that I have, which I promise you is going to impact you and change your life, change your perspective. And then I'll turn it back over to Jason. So as you do that, we're just going to hang out for a couple minutes. When you were done, just put 1 in the chat. Let me know that you've completed the survey, and we're gonna move forward. This has been such a wonderful time. Thank you so much. So when you're done, just put 1 in the chat. And if you're having any difficulties, just put in the chat to let me know. But it should be very straightforward. You should be good. Are you on your phone? Okay, Sashi. You see on the bottom where it says talk.ac/ my last name. Just enter that in your browser. Talk.ac/Banny. And it's going to come up for you. Okay, I see you, Sabrina. Done. Thank you. Mariella, thank you. I appreciate your feedback, your thoughts. Thank you for being a part of my mission. You guys are part of my dream, and I'm a part of your dream. That's the beautiful thing, right? I tell people, it's not money we value. We value time. We value time, right? So when you waste time, you're wasting your life. Think about that. Time is not money. Time is life. When you waste time, you're wasting your life. So even as we contextualize all of this, as we come to an end, I want you to be very, very judicious with your time, very diligent with your time, how you spend your time, where you spend your time. Because remember, the 5 people that you spend the most time with, it's right on the screen when the talk.ac/Banny, it's right below the QR code. That's the link right there. I would try to put it in, or let me put it in the chat to see if that will help you. Okay. That AC supposed to be in a while. It's right there. Right. So how you spend your time really determines how you spend your life. Okay, I see a few people are done. Appreciate you guys. I don't want to belabor the time. As you keep doing it, thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome, Wendy. So and that you have the opportunity to let me know what was most impactful for you. As you feel that, tell me just not, oh yeah, it was good. I want to know, like, what was most impactful? What really resonated with you? What really resonated with you? Thank you all. As you complete. So the last thing that I want to share with you all is this before we wrap up, and I turn it over to Jason. Choices. See, life is about choices. We are born looking like our parents, but when we die, we're going to resemble and we're going to look like our choices. We are born looking like our parents, but at the end of our lives, we're going to look like our choices. You see, every day you have an opportunity to choose who do you want to become? What do you want to do? Who are you going to spend your time with? How are you going to show up? Every day you do. Because you see, it comes a time in life where it does not matter what, I see you, Sashi, thank you. It does not matter what your background is. I tell you, it doesn't matter where you come from. Your history does not determine your destiny. Your choice does, and your decision does. Every day you have that opportunity. It does not matter what your mom did not do. I know some come from broken homes, single parent home, come from foster system, whatever the case may be. And that's all valid. And trust me, I empathize with that and I appreciate that. You know, and the fact that you were here and you're moving forward. But I just want you to keep this in mind. It does not matter your history. It does not matter where you come from. It does not matter what your mother did or what your mother did not do. It does not matter what your father did or what your father did not do. It comes a time, like the company Dodge, the slogan, you have to grab life by the horn. Your future is in your hand. Your family future is in your hand. The future of this country is in your hand. The future of our world is in your hands. So the choice that we make today on who do we want to become and how we interact with one another and how we show up and how we love one another, how we care for one another, having a communal mindset. That's what servant leadership is. That's what effective leadership is. When you do that, that's when you become a multiplier. Because when you walk in the room, people celebrate. When you leave the room, people miss you. And my hope is that you all will aspire to do that and you will do the work to do that. So it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy. And, connect with me all. However I could be of service to you to help you in your journey, I'm willing. And Jason has my information, and you guys saw my information too if you did the survey. And also to thank you, Jason, for the invitation. Sir, I gotta tell you, you're doing God's work. The impact that you are having, you don't even know the degree it's going. These workshops and how you are stewarding this thing that is within your domain so excellently, you're impacting people who will go on to impact people for generations. Your name will forever live long through them. So thank you for your diligence, because I know the kind of work and everything that it takes behind the scenes, right? And you are always on top of everything. And I just want you to know, whenever there's anything, I'm just a call, a text, and an email away. And it's my privilege to serve. So thank you, everybody. And Jason, I'll turn it back to you. I know we have a few minutes, but I'll turn it back to you. And we can have some questions. If anybody have questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak if you want to have, ask me anything. But Jason, I will let you manage that. And I know we have a few minutes, but I'll let you manage that. But thank you, and thank you, everybody.
So first of all, I want to say thank you, Fred, for what you just said. I really appreciate it, um, and I recognize that a lot of what you said today resonates with the work that we do here, and I appreciate you uh, formulating it in a way that you can communicate your message and also sort of be consistent with the work that we do. So I appreciate you as well. And I mean, let's give Fred a round of applause, whatever it is, virtual, however you do it. Um, and yeah, I want to, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat and I'll interrupt myself um, and let them go through. I want to just capitalize on a couple of things that you said, Fred, which I think are really important. And I'm really sorry that people, maybe missed this workshop. There are so many new members of our group that I think that, you know, what you said resonates with the message of what we try to do. And so a lot of folks on here we've met or we've sort of passed by. Some people on here we know each other really well, and some people who are part of our group are, we're still working out this connection that we're trying to have. But at the core of what your message was, I think, and at the core of what we try to do with the leadership program at Hostos is to foster the leadership qualities that you mentioned at the end, especially in every individual, and that the possibility is there for each and every one of you to go out into the world from this place and make an important, positive influence on other people and other circumstances and in your communities. And I knew that from the very beginning, right? So we have lots of people from West Africa, from the Caribbean, from different places on the planet, the Middle East. And I always used to talk about it when we were in person that we had like 70 different countries represented in our group. And people come back and reflect on the stories that they have about taking their message, what they learned from the leadership program, back to where they came from. Sometimes that's as close as 149th Street and the Grand Concourse, and sometimes that's as far away as halfway around the world. But I'm always impressed by the fact that they take that with them and understand that there's a value system that they can share with others and implement it to make things better. And when I write every recommendation letter that I write for the folks who are part of this program, I always highlight the fact that they're making positive change in the world. And I think that's a really important message to have for people who want to employ you, for people who want to give you scholarships, for people who want you to come to their schools, is to know that you're all working to make positive change in the world. And I feel great privilege to be able to talk to all of you about the things that you want to do. And then my job, which is the harder part of my job, is to try to push you to actually remember to do that no matter what the situation is. And I have to say, I take a great deal of pride in the fact that a lot of the people who graduated from Hostos, gone on to wherever they've gone on for their programming, and then went into the work world, are consistent with their message. They live up to the core values that they had when they were at Hostos, and they even exceeded in some ways. I've had the privilege over the last 2 weeks to have people come back, some alumni, and talk about how the impact was of being a part of this group, and they reflect on, you know, the choices that they made in their lives that allow them to make an impact on others. So um, I want to thank all of you for giving us this opportunity to share this message with you, and to be the fosterers of your journey, right? To give you support, guidance, to hear you out and understand what it is that you want to do, and what you'd like to say and what impact you'd like to make. And then I want to go to the final thing, Fred. And I don't know if there's any question here. I have one in the chat. Um, you know, I'm from the Bronx. I grew up. I was born in Pelham Bay General Hospital. I've only just moved out of the Bronx after 50 years of being there, and only because, you know, the only way I could afford a house is to move. Um, and I still work in the Bronx, and I have always been a proud Bronxite. I cherish it. It's part of my core values. I've talked about the Bronx to people in other places as if it's, you know, it's the shining capital of the world. I don't I don't see. I'm realistic. Okay, I see some of the stuff that's out there, and I know that it needs change. But I also know all of you, and I know the stories that you have. And when I tell the stories about the people who I've met and the people who I've been connected with, from the Bronx, from Hostos, from working with folks like Fred and others who come and join us and give their message, people are amazed. People really just have this sense that they know what the Bronx is. They know what, or they don't know what Hostos Community College is or how that works, or what community college is. They have a sense of what it is, and I don't think they really do. And so you're part of my message when I go out there and I talk to other people. And we're planning on going to the Air Force Academy again in Colorado, in February. And we've had the privilege now for, like, I think it's 8 years of going out there and bringing 2 students. And we always make an impact. We always make an impact because there's an assumption, right? With like some, you know, and my privilege and my pleasure is to be able to be there with you and have people see who you are, the unique, compassionate, brilliant individuals that you are, and how you bring that to the world. And so thank you for sharing your time with me and sharing your stories with me and allowing me to be a part of your journey as well. Because when you come back, I will always say, I am proud to be associated with you. I'll never say I'm proud of you. That's for your mom and your dad and people in your family to say. But I am proud to be affiliated with you, to be associated with you, to know you, and know that I love you and I cherish you for all of the work that you want to do and all of the work that you're putting into yourselves to be able to do that. So that's a long-winded way to say thank you, Fred, for being here, and the message. I really was inspired, listening, really connected to what you were saying. And yeah, if there's any questions before we close down, please feel free to unmute yourselves, and I can remove these pins. Let's see. And everybody's quiet now.
This is a great opportunity, everyone, to remember. You said, so you called that somebody, you said courageous, right? And all of this you have to practice that. Who do you want to become? Because like the saying goes, closed mouth don't get fed, right? So this is a great opportunity for you to start practicing who you, if you're going to lead and if you're going to change the world, you have to be willing to go first. So you don't have to have a question, but it's just, there was just a key moment. I just wanted to share that one little nugget. In anything, never be afraid to step up and to speak and to say what's in your mind or to ask questions, because a true leader or multiplying leader don't have all the answers, but they ask good questions, because questions are keys that unlock big doors. Answer shuts down the conversation. Answer is really like this. Questions give you a whole new world. So as you journey in your leadership journey, learn to ask good questions. So just wanted to share that.
Okay, I think it's warm outside, whatever it is.
That's right. That's okay.
It's
That's all
gonna get,
right.
you know, the clocks change this weekend, whatever it's gonna be. Everybody knows they only got a couple more hours of sunlight in the afternoon. Um, So I want to thank you, Fred, for being here for your presentation. Really, really admire you for the work that you're doing, and really feel grateful for the time that you make for us to join us and speak to our students. And I look forward to having you join us over and over again as we continue on our mission for the life of the Leadership Academy. So thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for being here this afternoon, for making time out in the warmest of weather that I've ever seen in November.
Right.
And I will do as I do every week and say goodbye to everybody. So Jessica, Elizabeth, Brian, Annie, Sabrina, Habitat, Daphne, Katie, Mateo, Joseph, Sheridan, Sashi, Mariella, Erica, Abigail,
guys.
Tracy, Mary, Adama, and
Bye.
Francine,
Thank
and all the
you.
other people who were here. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Enjoy that weather, and I will see you next week. And I'm looking forward to having more and more conversations about your dreams and your goals and your desires to make positive impact on the world. Thank you, Fred.
Bye.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Definitely. Enjoy the weekend, everyone.
See you, everyone.
Bye, sir.
Have a great day.